What's going on, everybody? This is the podcast again. The podcast interview things, which I've been doing some, but there's something different about this one. Is that it's actually in person for once, and even though this is an internet trend, and people from the internet are real people,
but they're weird.
Yeah, they're. I mean, I don't know. Am I weird?
Maybe. Marginally.
Anyway, in saying that, today we have Kevin
Puumala,
because I say it wrong. Like I say everything else wrong all the time. Am I even recording this? Yeah, I'm recording this. Good. We were asked the Q&A what the greatest fear was, and it says this recording. And when you're doing OBS, and every time I'm doing this, I'm like, I just hope I hit record, and this is actually doing what it's supposed to, because I'd hate to go through like after a whole time change, like after like a whole freaking hour of some like, super organic conversation and completely disappear.
Yeah, that would suck.
So Kevin and I actually met on the Ola England Discord a few years ago.
Yep.
Where I met a lot of people at one point. It was the Ola England Discord, from the OG community. And yeah, we've been kind of talking back and forth for a couple of years at this point, and then he found where I lived, and here we are. So
that sounds way too creepy, but yes.
No.
I told him. Because I mean, basically, the amount of people we met on there is ridiculous. Holy crap! And it's spawned all kinds of cool stuff. So there's collaborations and. These jam videos where you jam a solo over, somebody else's riffs and things like that. And there's been lots of really interesting stuff. I feel like there's actually going to be a fair bit of music that sort of spans from it as well.
Oh, yeah, especially over time. I mean, I would say there already has been.
Yeah,
at this point, like, there's definitely been quite a bit. I can think of, like, collabs between people, and, like, I've done collabs with people. Internet's world about the internet is now, instead of being stuck with the people in your local area, you can kind of have like an online band of people wherever there's an internet connection.
Exactly. And, which is cool because, I mean, like I did actually live here at one point, but we never met at that point. Although I'm pretty sure I ran into you at a show. I'm pretty sure.
It could have happened.
But I mean, but yet here we are. Fortunately, just a side note, we're allowed to travel in Canada right now, and I'm not like illegitimately here in the beautiful east coast of Canada, but had a chance to actually do this. We were supposed to do ideally something to do with NAMM, and that never happened.
I was actually totally going to go to 2021 NAMM, and early 2020. Before all this, the world fell apart. And I'm going to not use the other words just because of YouTube. Yeah. But right before the world fell apart, I remember I was thinking, like, they were all going to NAMM. Like, these guys, I'm like, man, that'd be so much fun. And I always wanted to kind of go to something like that. It'd be cool. I've never been to the U.S. at this point in time. I've been to layover. And it would have been super cool. I'm like, okay, next year I'm going to go. And then everything fell apart. I'm like, there's no way. And I think it's going to be a while before I actually make it to something like that, just due to things. But within this country right now, we can travel, which is cool. Mm-hmm. So it's cool because at least if there is a NAMM at some point to go to, at least I'll know one person in person.
Actually, you'll probably know quite a few. But
I'll know a ton of people. But there'll be all kinds of people that I'll know at this point if I went to a NAMM. All people are usually on the like smaller end of things. But hey, that's where most of the things are happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in all seriousness, like. Speaking of like smaller people on YouTube and stuff, like for like that one person who makes it, there's like 100 others that are doing some like really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Some of them are like super cool. Like I'm just gonna give a shout out to Milos Kostov right now because like I don't know why that guy doesn't have more subscribers because freaking so good at playing guitar, so super underrated. Like just guitar, like just mostly just plays. I don't think he talks in videos, but he's from Serbia and he's killer. I was way off topic, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah. But I mean, and like a lot of the people I met at, because I went to Winter NAMM 2020 and Summer NAMM 2021. And I mean, between like Trey Xavier and Kyle Bull and Ola England. And I mean, like, it's ridiculous. Like anybody who's into music, if you can go to it, go, because it is just it opened things up for me like you wouldn't believe, in regards to just like I met Dino Cazares, and I mean, growing up, I listened to Fear Factory a lot, and then you realize, hey, he's just a normal dude, you know. And I took a photo of Dino and I put it on Instagram, and then he commented on it. It was like, hey, that's cool. And then I saw him the next day at NAMM, and he was like, hey, you know, it was like, wow, okay, he's a human and I'm a human.
That's the thing.
That was really freaking cool, you know?
That's the thing I think a lot of people forget when you're dealing with people who are like, of some sort of fame of whatever sort, is that they're still a person.
Yeah, for sure.
They still get up and, you know, go to the bathroom every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything with me just turns into like toilet humor, but you know how it goes. I'll try to keep ourselves on track instead of, you know, on the bowl, on the porcelain throne.
Yeah, exactly.
Been saying that, yeah, like, everybody, there's still people and stuff. I mean, I think we look up to them in that sense, but sometimes like you just got to realize that they're just a person that happens to be known by a lot of people that are really, really good at something, but that doesn't mean that you're not better at something than they are.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their skills and abilities, and like, you know, it was such a cool experience meeting Chris Broderick and Jeff Loomis and Dave Davidson and Misha Mansour, and like, I feel like I'm sadly name dropping, but it's just
But
I've got
cool.
photos with these people, and you know, like, it's just such a cool thing, because like, and here we are on YouTube, you know, putting videos out there in the world, and who knows who's gonna actually see it? You never know. But like, you know, we're like, there's less of a disconnect than you might think, and anybody can do it. Not to say, like, of course, not everybody gets successful or famous or whatever, but I mean, in life, just do stuff. Just stop making excuses. Do stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, just like you said, just do things. It's really like, you think that you can't do these things, but then you look at like somebody like now, like Kyle Bull, like upcoming YouTuber. As far as I'm concerned, like he's probably going to be like one of the next bigger ones, I'd say, especially in the gear review market.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew who he was like a year ago.
But I can tell you from firsthand experience, Summer NAMM, I heard from like 15 different people, some of which I had never met. Oh, did you hear Kyle Bull is coming to this? It was like, wow, cool, man.
Yeah,
like,
man, making waves,
know,
man.
Like he starts a YouTube channel like 8-9 months ago. But I mean, I guess the interesting thing is to appreciate that, you know, did he just start making YouTube videos 9 months ago? Did he just start playing guitar 9 months ago? Did he just start collecting gear 9 months ago? No. He's your typical 10 or 15 year overnight success, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like,
you don't see the work that goes into it, and you know, I mean, that's what
it basically started the second they brought a guitar home and then started trying to learn, like, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit or something.
Right.
That's kind of where it starts. And it's like years of doing this, that, and something else. And man, like, just to do YouTube videos, like, I never planned on doing YouTube myself. A lot of people are like, oh no, I gotta start a YouTube channel and stuff. And I see that more of a common thing now, because it's something we consume so much of. Yeah. You know, but like, I just had a video up there. I was like, oh, I should play more and do that. Like, and a friend of mine record some garbage video for us. We didn't know what we were doing. Then eventually it's like, it was kind of more of like a natural thing for me to just perform and do things. So it's kind of like, I just do it. But the key thing is to not overthink it. Don't be like, well, they're better than me or that something. There's always somebody better than you, and there's always somebody worse. And sometimes the people that are worse, the people that are actually making it somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't mean that a bad thing. When I say worse than you, I shouldn't necessarily always say worse. It's maybe you're a better player, they're a better producer, whatever kind of happens. Sometimes life on the internet is just not a fair thing. Like, for me to get to 1,000 subscribers was just like a grind.
I got 70.
Seven.
But at the same time, I mean, I haven't. The first videos I made were 2007, at least that appeared on YouTube. But then there was, you know, 12 or 13 years of nothing. So what do you get, right? You get nothing. And but you know, I mean, I'm putting some effort into it now. I spend far too much time on tech and gear and second guessing myself. But you know,
I'm
just getting out there and doing it now.
One of the things I'm kind of learning with doing YouTube right now and like playing is realizing like, you know what? If I just suck at this, who cares?
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like I'll go back and replay things. Like if I'm recording something, I'm gonna try to record the best thing I can do. Like when I'm talking about playing guitar or something. But it's like one of those things. Like sometimes it's like, you know what? If I played that riff kind of wrong or did something bad, it's like. Whatever. You got to realize that everybody else is doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fakery on the internet. It's kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to do it and have fun with it because you can be kind of like not that good of a guitar player and it can still actually like be the thing that connects you with somebody else. They're like, hey, this is relatable to me. Right. Instead of having like, you know, some super pro, like, oh yeah, doing all the stuff. I can play this thing amazing. It's like, sometimes you just need to see somebody that's like, a human being.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of like this like super like alien finger do you know alien fingers? It sounds like, do you know who I'm talking?
Salad fingers?
No, oh no, I hate salad fingers. I did not find that funny at all. No, I was thinking what's the guy's name on he's on Facebook. He always did the alien fingers and the videos like
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that.
Shoot, why can I not think of his name? He's Brazilian. Shoot,
probably because you're on camera right now. That's probably why.
It's usually as soon as I need to think of it, I'll remember it like next week. Oh crap! There's a video I did with him. I should look it up. I'll remember it like halfway through the video or something. Either way. Oh, Emmanuel Aguilar. That was it.
Oh, okay.
You know who Emmanuel is?
I remember running across the name. I don't know him.
I mean, when I said alien fingers, I meant somebody that was just like crazy good. And I just realized that alien fingers is also Emmanuel. His thing, it was like alien fingers, whatever, and it's just like shaky video. And he would do something. It's like, and no matter how hard somebody trolled him, he would just go, "Hugs, brother."
Nice.
Oh yeah, you can't. I don't think you control Emmanuel. He's a very, very nice guy.
That's cool.
And saying that, yeah, it's like you don't have to be the best of things to get out there.
No, these days. Not at all.
And you can't let numbers worry you too much too. Sometimes like you just gotta go for it.
Yeah.
That's you got 5 subs, make it, it's like, but make a video. It's like, well, we got to have fun, but do something like, it's like, but pretend you're playing to 500,000 people. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
I mean, that's what musicians will tell you all the time. That you know, like whether you're playing in front of 10 people or 10,000, just play as if it's the biggest show of your life, right? Comedians and actors and everybody will tell you the same thing because the reality is, you know, you never know who's going to be in the crowd, right?
Exactly, and you don't know. Like, I mean, and either way, even if it goes good or bad, you're getting practice, and if you're not doing anything, you're not getting an experience.
That's right.
And even like something like a video goes kind of crappy,
whatever.
Next one can't be any worse, right?
Yeah. Well, and an interesting thing, like I sort of research things to death. If you didn't notice that, but anyways, there was something that was mentioned along my YouTube journey, and basically somebody was saying, you know, what, like, in terms of giving advice to YouTubers, somebody going to somebody with like 40 videos or 20 videos or something and saying, oh, you know, my numbers aren't what I want them to be. What should I do? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you don't have 100 videos yet. I'm not even going to talk to you. Because the reality is you haven't put in the work. You're trying to shortcut the hard work that's required, you know, and whatever you want to put together, if you're not putting the time in, you're not going to get the result, period, end of story. And like in your case, I can't remember when you hit 1,000 subs. I think you were at like 170 videos or something like that. Like it was significant.
It was quite a few.
And I remember we had the discussion a while ago about, you know, how many videos the average YouTuber has when they hit 1,000 subscribers. And it was, I can't remember, it was less than your number. I think it was maybe 120 or something, 140 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of interesting to then see that the stats show that, well, when you hit 10,000 subs, well, that's a lot less than double the amount. And you're going 10 times bigger. And so it's this whole thing of like, you know, you're not going to be seen. You're not going to be anybody until you are somebody, but you just have to keep going.
If you don't do it, it won't happen.
Exactly.
Somebody's not going to come up to the street and just hand that whatever it is you're looking for to you. You have to just do it.
Right.
I won't say that things aren't impossible. I won't say that you need 150 videos to have 1,000 subs or anything like that. Like there's a billion different situations. It's just kind of like the on average. But if you don't do it, you don't get it. And some people are going to get there before you with less effort for some reason. Some people are going to take after you. Sometimes you're going to be ahead of them. And all of a sudden, just jump ahead of you. Like I've had somebody tell me once, like, oh, I'll never be ahead of you, and they're ahead of me right now. It's not really a race, okay? But they have more subscribers, but we're really good buddies, so it's cool.
Well, and that's the interesting thing is that, I mean, a lot of what it comes down to, I find, is when you niche down, right? Like again, Kyle Bull, amazing example of how to grow, a niche, thrash metal music channel, is. He uses an SM57 mic. He might use his Deadwell Duality pedal, and then he just has all kinds of ridiculous, awesome amplifiers and cabinets and guitars and everything else. And he's got this format, and that's the channel. And if that's what you're into, that's exactly what you get. And lo and behold, he's growing at this ridiculous rate. Awesome. And guys like Fluff talk about him, and guys like 5 Watt World talk about him, and like, you get to be known as something. And in reality, that's what, I mean, in regards to, let's say, if we're talking about YouTube success or that kind of thing, focus. And when you can do those kinds of things, you get the results you're after. I mean, as a side note, I mean, really one of the main things that started my YouTube channel in the first place was I want to play in a band. And I saw what Ola did, and that's basically, he reviewed lots of guitar amps and stuff like that, but he also did lots of covers. And just by putting that out there, he didn't talk on video or anything for all the early ones.
No,
not at all.
For years.
And it was kind of the FAQ series where he finally started talking and so on. And then you find out, oh, hey, he's got a cool personality and everything else. But the reality is that, he was looking at a result, and it was basically like his YouTube channel became his digital resume. And so if, I want to play, like I'd be happy to do a fill-in spot for a band and tour, what have you done? That's what people are going to ask you. What can you do? What have you done? Well, here it is.
And it's not just with music and YouTube. That's also any kind of career.
Exactly.
It's like I want to work for whoever. It's like, what have you done? If you've done nothing, they're going to be like, well, have fun working part-time somewhere. So that's what it's kind of work boiled down to. But the thing is like, even with just starting YouTube, if you want to start this kind of stuff these days, you don't need all this crazy equipment. You could literally start with this thing, which I have in my hand now because I have our topics that we're talking about on here.
Yeah.
I promise you that I'm trying not to like live on the phone
Get
or something.
distracted by everything.
But I mean, it's just baseball at this point. But either way, YouTube is, I mean, it's definitely a grind. Okay, like here is like today we were doing some videos of these AMT pedals, and it was like a 20-some minute video. It worked out to be filming and stuff, but how long do you think we took on setup?
I mean, it had to be an hour and a half. I mean, just finding out that my other camera is not working, and setting up the cameras and the audio and the interface and the, you know what I mean? Like, it just like there's a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of, like, I brought, sadly, a lot of gear. In certain situations, I probably brought more gear than Brian's got here, but what I like to be prepared. Oops. So I try to bring a bunch of different stuff, but I mean, it's interesting because just how much work actually goes into it. I mean, you see a video and it's like that was actually an hour of footage and you get 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, like there was the amount of time, like that was just like to set up, like to get going here in like this cluttered up mess that we've got going on right now to shoot videos and stuff. And anyway, these are kind of the more chill ones, just like sitting here, like talking. So we had all that set up, then you got to film it.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that a lot of people consuming video content don't realize. It's like, make more. But you know what that means? More editing.
Oh yeah, way more.
Way more editing. And I understand like why some people don't like video editing because it is a lot of effort. And you like sometimes you need like a powerful computer or anything like that or something depending on what you're filming with.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you spend all this time doing that. And then it's like, it's not even just editing that video. It's like learning the software so you can edit those videos faster.
Yeah.
And you have to find a software that works for you.
Well, I mean, if you remember, like when I started recording videos, it was early days on Ola's Discord. And I don't know if you were, I think we had the discussion about like I had a laptop with me where I was recording for Ola's Member Jam #3. And so my limitations were I had one guitar, I had an interface, I had my cell phone, and I had a laptop. And unless I wanted to buy another laptop, I was stuck with the problems I had. And literally, I think I'm pretty sure it was 5, maybe more, different pieces of software, and the only one that would work was Premiere. Nothing else would work. So I literally had to buy it for the simple fact that it was the only one that would work. And I had this timeline. I had to get the video recorded. Otherwise, I guess people wouldn't be happy or whatever. It would have been hard to replace me for the Member Jam slot, right?
You kind of want to be in that slot.
Well,
too.
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a big deal. It's like, man, I'm going to be on this big YouTube channel. This is sick.
Exactly. And I mean, it was a pride thing and everything else too, but it was just like, it was a lot. Like I probably put in, I'm going to say at least 15 or 20 hours of troubleshooting to be able to find a way to take what I recorded and actually use it for something. Like it was a major struggle. And then, from there it was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going down the Adobe Premiere path. And then I realized that my computer wasn't very powerful for working with it. And it's just so many friggin' things. At this point, I'm on to using a Mac M1 is sort of my primary system. But of course, I don't have a laptop, so that's not what's with me. So I'm still using Resolve with my laptop that I have here. And like, you gotta be really resourceful. You gotta problem solve like crazy. Because like like last week I was trying to edit a video, and it was going where like I literally dropped Premiere altogether now because it was it just went to the point where things that like should have worked a certain way didn't work that way.
No. Yeah.
And then I brought the same files into DaVinci Resolve, and it was like, oh, that did what I wanted it to do.
Was that on your laptop or the M1 Mac?
That was actually on the desktop.
Okay, on the desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right at the moment, now I'm considering going towards a Mac Mini for video editing because of different things, and I know that they work pretty good for that. And it's not saying I'm ditching Windows. I'm not doing like a full swap or anything like that. But not DaVinci, but Premiere Pro, which is kind of like what a lot of people consider like the standard kind of editing software is for a lot of like film industry and stuff. I mean, in saying that, that's what I use to work with now. And I'm used to it after about 3.5 years of messing with Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro has made my quality go up like crazy. But the thing right now is that M1 Mac, it wasn't working that great with Premiere Pro because it wasn't set up for that. Now they apparently tried to make a new one, and it's a lot better. I don't think it's perfect yet, but a lot of people, even though they were on Mac, they weren't using Final Cut Pro. They were using
Premiere.
They were using Premiere Pro. Yeah. I watched some Sarah Dietschy videos sometimes. She does some good videos, man, on some stuff, like on some tech, man. I don't watch all of them, but she got to subscribe out of me. Is I've learned some stuff from some of those camera people, some of those vloggier kind of people. Because they were giving away their free information. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But she was tested it again. I don't think it was like perfect. And there's always gonna be quirks with computers and stuff in certain programs. I think Final Cut Pro is like it's just optimized for M1, but I'm waiting for the M1X, I think, before I do anything.
Yeah.
Just because But it's just if it's a speed thing and it helps do stuff. Except right at the moment, I'm like this in this mental spot where I'm like, I know I'm gonna be doing videos, but I really want to do music. But still, like, I gotta keep this YouTube thing going as well. But if that helps speed things up, I mean, if you can do the Mac thing,
well, I mean,
if you don't
like we've been
not for everybody.
We've been chatting about it for a bit, and I've had the discussion with Taylor Danley as well, and you know, I mean, he's moved to Mac, not completely, but he's almost there. And his workflow's been improving significantly. I'm in the same boat. Like at this point, I feel like I can get those videos out a lot quicker. Logic Pro, I'm not quite there yet. I'm still using Reaper a bit, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, finding that workflow that works. I mean, it's not simple at all. It takes a lot of time, and then you gain all these other things you have to pay attention to along the way, like the cameras and the microphones and the every other friggin' thing. Like this
gets to be an expensive hobby after a while.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean? Fortunately,
like,
I've got some business reasons why I can push it in that direction, because I make videos for the business as well. But it's it's not something you just take up and you're like, oh, let's make a video. Yeah. It's easy. No.
It gets easier the more you do it, because you know what kind of like how to fix your problems and stuff.
Right.
And,
like what
and
works,
how to set up and like what's working, what you want to do and stuff like that. Like one of the things I struggled with for a long time, and if I set that camera up again, I'd still do it. Having video just out of focus.
Yeah.
Like, and there's like little crap, like, so I bought a Nikon Z6, which I film most of my stuff on, although it's sitting right here right now, which is rarely in the videos, but it's there. But man, one of the things with that is that I never had blown shots after that where it's like out of focus or something, right? Because the autofocus on it is just, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it was kind of like I had the money to put into that investment, and it was like not like I was making money with it per se, but like I was wasting less time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I almost think like the Mac for video editing might work good. Now it depends. If I'm talking about working in 4K video as well.
Right.
And it's just because you can get those crop ins and it just works well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what we're shooting on right now is actually a Sony. It's called Doug. The ZV-E10, and it's actually, I had it shipped here, which is kind of funny. But anyways, it was just released. The reason I got that camera was very simply workflow. That's it, workflow. Does it look better than the Panasonic that I have? No. The video coming out actually probably looks a little bit worse on this camera. But it has incredible autofocus. And for studio work, that's kind of like the only thing that really matters at the end of the day. You know, I've got Olympus cameras, I've got Panasonic cameras, and while the video quality coming out of them looks really good, the Olympus, if you get the higher end stuff, can focus really well. Panasonic, not as much. You're left with manual focus. And just to relay something quickly that I ran into a couple weeks ago was Sony camera and then 2 Panasonic cameras set up in a shoot. I think I was doing one of my cover songs or something, and it took me about 45 minutes to set up manual focus on the 2 other cameras.
Yeah.
And it took me literally like 3 seconds to set up the Sony camera with the autofocus, and just, oh, there it is.
Done.
Hit record. You know what I mean?
It's that little crap.
So like, it's not like, even if this was more expensive, the workflow is just that much simpler. And at this point, I don't get a lot of time to do video work and edit and all this kind of stuff. So if you're not using it effectively by having hardware that helps you do that, I mean, for a lot of people, literally a phone is probably your best bet.
Yep.
And just find out a good way to get audio, and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cameras are really good. You just have to get decent lighting.
You could still essentially like record all your audio with the computer.
Yeah.
And then just like have the video.
Use your phone.
Use your phone. I mean, if you have an Apple Watch and you got an iPhone, you can literally use the Apple Watch as a monitor, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's what Daryl V was telling me he does. Yeah. And I mean, his videos look great.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
as long as your audio, I mean, and frankly, on YouTube, people care more about more about audio than they do the video.
Yeah, which is one of those things you think it's gonna be more about the image, and I mean it does help a lot, but it really is I never realized that early on either.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing some videos where it was literally like camera audio.
Yeah.
And in 2021 and before that a little way, like you really can't do that.
No.
People don't want that anymore. If it was 2008, I'd say you could get away with that sound.
Yeah.
But like, let's say you're like some, 6 shredder or something. People don't want to hear some junky camera audio and stuff. Some people, I mean, I see people doing it and it seems to work in some like algorithm based like thing feeds like Facebook. Like I see like one guy super good. I don't think he doesn't care. But he does videos kind of like that. And I see him on it's a terrible group, Top Guitar Players, but he's a super nice guy, and I see that. But really, in terms of YouTube, you can't do that kind of stuff.
No.
And
I mean, like these might look kind of silly, but they sound good. So
yeah, exactly.
That's why we've got our little compadres.
Should have clipped them to our shirts, like the SM7B clipped to your shirt, like
that'd be a good look.
I mean, it could be a new trend. I don't think I'm going to try it right now. I think it'd be a terrible idea.
But I mean, what we did earlier, we just clipped on a couple of lapel mics, and I used this little recorder that I've got. And when listening back to it, it sounded really friggin' good. It's like, okay, good, done, perfect. Workflow, check. Go to the next thing. And that was part of our hour and a half, and it still took that part probably took 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's all about problem solving, right?
I mean, it's a lot. And the thing is, like some of the skills you have doing this kind of stuff too, you could find other jobs doing them sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
There's people out there that would hire you to do video editing if you liked video editing.
Oh, geez, yeah.
There's people out there that would hire you to do thumbnails for their videos. Like I've probably learned some Photoshop just from doing this channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and,
for
I
sure.
mean, I've learned a lot of Premiere Pro.
And then yeah, Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff. Yeah.
Now I've never used Lightroom. It's been used a little bit in context of the channel, but not very much. It's mostly for my photography kind of stuff like that. But yeah, so we've been talking about doing these videos and stuff, and talking about doing all that stuff and editing and cameras and all that stuff, and it can get very expensive. It kind of can be as expensive as you really want it to be.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it can, it's absolutely insane. But we haven't talked about guitars that much.
We have not.
That's the thing. And we both have, I think, a fair collection of guitars.
Fair, but I mean, I would actually say I used to have more, but my ex wanted me to sell some of them, so I did.
Well, that's no good.
So things happen in life, but and I guess at this point, I probably have maybe like 11 or 12 total, but 3 of them are classical. One's a bass, so there's 4 right there. And then I guess electrics. Yeah, I probably got about 8 or 9 or something like that. The whole thing is, you get guitars for what application you have, and or you just get collect happy,
That happens.
Like where you buy 3 of the exact same guitar because you like them.
That'd be a Jackson Stealth by any chance?
Perhaps, yes.
Yeah, I didn't I get one of those? The Evil Wizard sent them here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you took up classical guitar.
Yes. So, but not first. I actually started with acoustic and then got an electric when I was probably about, I'm going to say 10, maybe 9. So that would have been right around like 89, 90, somewhere in that time frame. And because I'm an old fart. So anyways. And then sort of got into rock and metal. It was really Metallica that kind of got me started, actually. But and then played a bunch of electric through high school and all that. Got into bands in the sort of typical way. And then I actually I started taking lessons with my electric guitar teacher who also taught classical. And when I was at university the first time, I actually took a classical guitar course, which was cool. And started there, didn't really learn much. And then eventually went back to college actually and did classical guitar in Sudbury at Cambrian College. So an interesting program because it was a performance music program. It wasn't university style. It was college, a college program. So it was very performance driven. And so we would get embarrassed and play in front of people all the time. And it was really, really good experience because if you weren't playing 8 to 12 hours a day, just drop out now because you couldn't keep up. So it was very, very intense. And some of the players I went to school with were ridiculous. And some of them are actually still playing. But, I guess you don't really go to music school to find a job. But
No.
But you go to hone a skill, right?
Yeah.
And a video I'm actually going to do in the future is going to deal with 10,000 hours or you suck or something like that. I might work on the title a bit. But pretty much if you're not putting 10,000 hours into something, you can't call yourself a professional. You haven't made enough mistakes yet, And so that was the interesting thing that with music school, I went to music school after that in Newfoundland for a couple of years and learned a lot more there and actually played with some even more ridiculous players. Shout out to Steve Cowan. Not that you're watching this video, but
hey, might be.
Man, he is ridiculous on classical guitar. And from the day I got there, it was like, that guy's good. Just on a totally different level. And then at that point, you sort of, if you want to grow, if you want to expand, you keep an eye out for the people that just blow your mind and you try to do what they do, and this guy, he's a prof at McGill University now in Montreal. And I got to see him do a pandemic concert. Not to use the other word. And man, like just on a totally different level than most players I've ever seen. And he's literally winning competitions in the world and stuff as a classical player, right? And so it's interesting. I would say I'm more passionate about metal than I am about classical, but at the same time, I really want to fuse the two together in a way that others haven't in the past. People have commented that some of the stuff I've written might have like a Randy Rhoads kind of feel, but I think that's largely just because of the fact that he's one of the first guys who ever did that kind of fusion. Yeah. And literally, Diary of a Madman, to say he wrote it is kind of not correct because Leo Brouwer wrote studies that had all of the exact same progressions in them, and he just went, "Oh, I'll move that into the metal world,"
Yep.
So, but that's how music is created. That's how things progress because, you've got to take influences from somewhere.
Yeah. A lot of music is just kind of like sort of like a rehash of something else or a different perspective. Yep. Of something else that already exists. So you can see that and like look at gent these days.
Oh, for sure.
Periphery was like, well, how did Meeser put it? I've been knocking off Meshuggah before it was cool.
Yeah.
And then Periphery became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Periphery was a thing per se, as like then like Tesseract and some of those bands came along. And now there's like a whole bunch of just other people sound just like them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, like that's how most genres are built, right? I mean, you look at the thrash scene, and everybody was just huge into the same bands.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear a lot of those influences, but then you'll just have these different twists. And I mean, you think of as a band like I don't know, Gojira as completely unique. Well, there's definitely some uniqueness there. But at the same time, if you go back and listen to old Machine Head or old Slipknot and things like that, you'll get these cues where it's like, That's why he does the slide thing, and that's why he, you know what I mean? There's all these things
From
where
learning those songs. Yeah.
You hear this stuff sort of build together, right? And you know, so like what I there's certain things I really like to take from the classical realm, like a lot of the Renaissance and Baroque era stuff, just because it was dark and it was more minor key, more, you know, melancholy, that kind of thing. And then I just find it plays really well into the metal space, right? So you know, it's a neat fusion that I haven't seen a lot of people do, and it's sort of like been an idea brewing in my head for 25 years.
Yeah, one of the bands that I like though that is a fusion of that kind of music, Flesh God Apocalypse.
Yeah, definitely.
You ever listen to them?
Yeah, I definitely
That
have.
band is insane. I'll tell you one thing too. If I got somebody in the car who doesn't like that kind of music, like they're like metal, it's like just it's very fast paced, dark, screamy, the whole works. And of course, like somebody who doesn't understand metal, and some metal people, or it's too much for them. But like if you're in the mood for Flesh God, they're just like, oh, they're such a good band.
Yeah.
And I swear, if I hit shuffle play on Spotify, it's gonna like instantly start playing like that. I'm trying to think of what that song was called.
Oh, I can't remember.
It was one of the old ones from Flesh God Apocalypse. It's like I always play Flesh God. Oh man, there's some killer songs.
There's a lot of sound in that band, and it comes at you incredibly fast.
One of the things that I liked in that band, when they had an opera singer at one point.
Yeah.
I think she might still be with the band doing stuff. I don't know if she's in the band, but she tours with the band.
Right.
And there's one point there's like a solo, and she's there going like oh and whatever, and the guitar and her hit the same note, and then they divert. It's just like, it's like that was so cool. I know it might be like it's like orchestrated chaos.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it's so good.
It's like strapping to a point, right?
Oh,
like
man.
It's got that wall of sound idea, but then you've got these tones from piano and vocal and everything else that just you've got a crazy interweaving of perhaps what would be considered, you know, uncommon sounds.
Yeah.
But like they put it together in a really interesting way.
I remember I said something like, oh no, there's this band, they mix classical and metal together. Like, how does that even work? A lot of similarities, actually.
Oh, big time.
And but that guy listened to country music, so his opinion didn't count there.
But like interestingly, like you go back, like, because I mean, of course, I did lots of music history courses and all this kind of stuff, and I mean, like I'll hear pieces, and it's like, oh well, this band ripped that off, and I mean, you listen to Malmsteen. I mean, I appreciate it's neoclassical. It's you know, it's actually purposely going down that vein, but I mean, they're like. He'll pull out Mozart and Beethoven and that type of stuff, all like lots of thematic work from that. And actually, I would actually probably say Malmsteen's a bit more Bach than anything else. But you know, and very purposely driven down that path. But you know, I think they work absolutely perfectly together.
Oh yeah, and when Malmsteen kind of came up with that like that neoclassical kind of shred thing too. There was nothing really like that around the time. So that's why he was such a big deal. It still really is. And it's funny, when his first record, when it was like, I don't know, it was Shrapnel Records or one of those record labels, they actually, I think he wanted to always have vocals, but then they made him do instrumental for the first one. And then, of course, but he always had killer vocalists.
Yeah, definitely.
And stuff, especially back, like, you know, in the 90s and stuff. When I've gone back and listened to it, it sounds cool. Now, we've been talking about classical guitars, but you're also, like, you know, really into the metal stuff. And we were talking earlier about, like, you have a collection of guitars, but Serpent King guitars.
Yes.
SKG. Now, that company is owned by Henry from the band God Dethroned. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys know who God Dethroned are. If you haven't checked them out, they're pretty awesome in the death metal realms, like Bloody Blasphemy.
Yeah, they've got...
man, that stuff's cool.
They got a couple different eras. It's an interesting past with that band, because where I ran into them first, a guy named Justin, who was involved in the metal scene where I'm from, he he was a mixtape guy, and he had so much music, it wasn't even funny. For that city, I don't think anybody had a bigger metal collection than Justin, and just an absolute music nut, and like didn't care if it sounded good or not. He was still interested in it. You know what I mean? He was still willing to listen to it. So he wasn't like, oh, I listen to Dream Theater, so I can't listen to Anthrax or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was open to everything, black metal, doom metal, everything. The genre didn't matter. So he was a really cool, let's call him music ambassador or interpreter, you know? And he introduced me to two bands that were really big in and have become very big in my musical background and my musical interests, and they're actually Annihilator and God Dethroned. And with God Dethroned, there was just something there that grabbed my ear, and I'm not exactly sure what it was even to this day, but a buddy of mine and myself went down to Milwaukee in 2000 to something called Milwaukee Metal Fest. And God Dethroned isn't exactly a band that you'd find at your local HMV, you know?
No.
So there happened to be vendors at Milwaukee Metal Fest, and it was super cool because I found a T-shirt. I still have it on my wall. We found, all their first albums at the time. They had an album called The Christ Hunt. So not very PC, but anyways, had some cool album artwork with like a rat being disemboweled or something. Anyways,
it's shock value, and it was kind of like what got people's attention. Though.
Exactly.
It's like, whoa,
exactly.
This band must sound like freaking cool. I gotta check them out.
Exactly, just like Mayhem or Cannibal Corpse or Deicide or something.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, so then basically, I get the Christ Hunt, I get the Grand Grimoire, and I get Bloody Blasphemy. And I put on Bloody Blasphemy, and it was just like, bam, like, wow, this album has some magic on it.
That is a good album.
And it's really good.
I didn't even know who that band was until you showed them to me.
And I've showed them to lots of people, and a lot of people have been very pleasantly surprised. At the time, what Justin had actually said was that they're the Slayer of Europe, and I totally disagree.
It doesn't sound like the Slayer of Europe to me at all.
It's a lot different. It's a very blackened death metal kind of thing, but then they have eras too, right? So, but anyways, basically Bloody Blasphemy was just this magical music moment. I was like 20 years old or 19 years old or something, and it's just an influential time. I happened to have my Jackson Stealthy X, the original one.
Yeah.
I had my Hughes and Kettner amp that I just bought. If anybody, there's probably like maybe half a person on here that might follow my Instagram.
Half a person. Not even a full one. A half person.
I had just recently found the Hughes and Kettner ATS 60 that I used to use when I was a kid. So what was interesting is I read through the liner notes, and God Dethroned plays Hughes and Kettner amps and BC Rich and Jackson guitars. And I was like, that's kind of cool, because I had never heard of Hughes and Kettner at that point. I just bought it from the music store I used to work at. But I liked the sound, and I used to play it live. And there was something happened one day. I don't know what it was, but I was sitting in the basement, and I put on that album, and I learned a riff from every song on that album within, like, as it was playing through. And I'm just going, I've never learned music like this in my life. It was just like some crazy surreal experience. And the weird thing is, I'm playing, for anybody who knows about Floyd Rose guitars, you don't change the tuning like in 5 minutes.
Oh no.
So it was already in the right tuning, which is kind of not what you usually experience, right? So here I am with this guitar tuned to D, and it happened to sound, and I'm like not exaggerating at all, it sounded exactly like the album because it was a Jackson guitar and Hughes and Kettner amps, right?
Yeah.
And tuned to the same and everything else. And I'm just like, wow, there's something crazy going on here. And I've never, let's say, fallen out of love with that album. It's fantastic. And so basically in 2006, I had an opportunity to drive down. I was living in Sudbury at the time, going to music school. I had an opportunity to drive down to Cleveland and actually go see God Dethroned play. And of course, I jumped on it. My sister happened to live in Cleveland at the time, so it made it a pretty easy trip. And went down there. They weren't there the first night. It was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. And on Friday, I talked to the Metal Blade Record girls, and they were like, yeah, definitely, we'll introduce you to the band and everything else. And I'm like, super cool. Go back the next day. There they were. I literally, like, I probably looked like a little school kid, like all super excited and,
oh my God, it's God Dethroned.
Exactly. And that's probably the first time that's ever happened to them, But anyways, just a huge fan, And went up to Henry, shook his hand, and we took a bunch of photos and stuff. And I still talk to Henry on a reasonably regular basis. And I still talk to Hank from time to time as well. He was the bass player at the time. And it's actually cool. Isaac Delahaye went on to join Epica.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's, speaking of symphonic metal.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, Epica.
And so he went on to join Epica, but Arian Van Wiesenbeek went there first, and he's the drummer. And
that's a name and a half to my ears.
Yeah, it's a
cool name.
I guess a Dutch name. If it's not Dutch, I apologize. Not that Arian's gonna watch, but anyways.
Hey, we don't know that.
You never know. But yeah, and like, just such a cool experience. I hung out with the guys all weekend, and we were just drinking beer and watching like Charred Walls of the Damned and whatever other bands played. And actually, did Cannibal Corpse? No.
I don't know.
Maybe Cannibal Corpse played. I can't remember. It was called Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles Fest 3, I think, in 2006. So
sounds like the third movie or something.
Well, it's actually not a record label. It's a like a fanzine in Toronto, and they actually used to put out all these like mixed CDs of bands that were trying to get noticed and stuff. So they were involved in the Toronto metal scene in a big way. So I'm sure guys like Daryl V know about BWBK quite a bit. So
probably.
Anyways, so meet Henry, and then it turns out I think I've seen them 6 times now at lots of different venues with different band members and everything else. He started his guitar company in 2011, and I've been a fan the whole time. I just wished he had changed his headstock, and then he did. And
nice.
So I think I got the first SKG in 2019, I want to say, or maybe it was 2020. I got a it's called a Stratus 6 with the old headstock, and I got Henry to load it up with Railhammer pickups.
Nice.
And then I ended up getting another Stratus 6, but this time with a Floyd Rose. And it's in Execution Protocol Red is the color.
Nice. That's such a cool name for it.
It's a cool song too, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
And so that I think that's my favorite of the two. Summer NAMM, I actually brought the black Stratus 6, the first one, and a lot of guys seem to really like it and stuff, but it's not that much like a Jackson. It's more like a BC Rich ESP type feel to me.
Okay.
And in fact, I would actually say it feels pretty close to what the Solars feel like.
I mean,
fairly similar. It's not the same neck, but it's not far off.
No, they almost have like the artist vibe of the Solars too. A little bit, few of them. They have that like, kind of cutaway, like graham, like with the neck joints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially on the V. You see it on the V quite a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know what you're saying. I've seen that for there and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that's super cool. I'd like to try one of those out one of these days. That was pretty cool.
I mean, it's neat when something has a story, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, our Solar guitars, for example. I mean, we based. we basically bought them from Ola, right? Like we were communicating with Ola, and like, well, actually, technically, I bought mine from Ola, but yeah, like. You know, there's more to those instruments than just it's a hunk of wood with some friggin' wiring. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Story to it. Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, like over time, like your RG and everything else like that. I mean, where they've been used, how you've used them, what you learned on them, all that stuff. There's you know, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you know, this guy owns 50 guitars or whatever. Yeah, but what kind of experience has that person actually had with those things? I mean, without your RG, I would imagine you'd probably be a very sad person.
I mean, you know, yeah, like, I think it'd be different. I mean, I don't know. It's weird to think sometimes buying that one thing really changes the course of like this little things in your life sometimes. Maybe not always the big things, but it just kind of sometimes becomes your thing.
Like, I mean, to give you an idea, 1995, it was in 95. I bought my first Jackson South EX, and I bought it with paper route money, which was like, suffice it to say, I delivered a lot of papers to buy a guitar that at the time was like almost $1,500 Canadian plus tax. I got it with the Jackson case. I got it, you know, fully set up and everything. And I wouldn't play guitar today if I didn't buy that guitar.
Yeah.
Because I put such a huge investment of time into it that it just was something that I found myself going, well, I'm kind of bored. Maybe I should use this thing I paid a lot of money for.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I don't know. You never really had to beat me to play my guitar.
No,
like,
well, I mean,
it's kind of like I bought it and I was going to play. Like, man, and my first guitar came from a lot of odd jobs too.
Yeah.
It's like I had launched clay targets for basically a weekend for people to shoot. It was a job. That's what I did. I picked up bottles and cans. I wasn't old enough to have an actual part-time tax-paying job, so I kind of like find whatever, mow lawn.
Yeah.
Do all the fun stuff, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're about ready to soon wrap this video up. So what's next for you on YouTube?
I'm gonna keep doing some covers and just I have some goals in mind for what I want to accomplish there. But the big thing is I really want to push my own writing. I'm actually starting to write again with my longtime composition partner, I guess, or whatever. My buddy from my original band, which was called Azathoth back in the day. And we've joked about revisiting the band, but we're not going to. So for any of the Azathoth, you know, fans out there, which I think there's probably -50.
Not even a half. Like, he's a half follower on Instagram, and he has -50 like people. So literally like 15 people have disappeared because that band existed.
Yeah. It was not the best. We had some great players in it, but myself not included. But it had potential maybe. But anyways, I just find he writes really cool riffs, and we've always got along really well. And I've known the guy for like 24 years, 23 years now, something like that. And yeah, we just want to start actually writing for real. We're at a different place in our lives now, and I think the reason we'd write is a lot more, I don't know, a lot different anyways. But yeah, writing new music. I want to do, I enjoy gear. I've actually got a camera channel. I've got a business YouTube channel, and then I've got the guitar channel, and just released my first ever track on like DistroKid and that.
Nice. Yeah.
So that was over 20 years in the making. So suffice it to say, 20 years from now or something like that, if I find a way to have some success in the music industry, don't ever think it's too late, because it's not that I stopped playing, but I certainly didn't push things forward for a long time. And I just find myself much more interested in it again and wanting to do things that I should have done a long time ago.
Yep. So I guess the key takeaway here is don't waste your time expecting things to happen, and when they won't, you have to just do it. Obviously things happen, things things can change and things get in the way, but if you want it to happen, you got to do it.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get him over 70 subscribers and get him to 71. And by
a half.
clicking
And a half.
subscribe to the link below to his channel right now.
That
So you
would be
can't
cool.
have a half sub. You can only get whole subs on
I
YouTube.
know.
Apparently, according to him on Instagram, you can get like a half follower. I don't
Maybe.
know how that works, if they got like part of them eaten by a shark or however this works. And I don't know. But either way, let's get him some subs over there by clicking that link below. Guess what you could also do is on my channel is click the subscribe button, the like button, notification bell, all that stuff. Kevin, thanks you so much for coming over and doing all these videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Hanging out here.
It's been cool, and I appreciate it. Like, it was just an idea that, I was going to travel to this area because I like the East Coast, and it was like, hey, we should do something when I'm out here.
Yeah,
Cool,
exactly.
sure, let's do it, right?
So here we are doing.
Rather than just talking about it, we're actually doing something about
We're
it
on
right
the
here.
fourth video right now, so
I think so, yeah.
we should probably have about 2 more by the time we're done here. And so
That'd be cool.
we won't be too bad. So anyway, guys, make sure you do what I told you before. To subscribe to him. Not half of you, like all of you.
Yeah.
You know
full
exactly,
people.
like full people only. You guys should have no problem with that, because I'd say that 100% of the people watching this video right now have a whole body, or enough of a body that they can
click.
They can click it,
Yeah.
even if you have to use like your nose. That's a good challenge for you guys. Move the mouse with your face, and then click the subscribe button with your nose to make a video of that and tag me in an Instagram story at Bauer
That'd be
YT.
cool. And make sure you hit the like button your nose.
If you've gotten this far in the video, make a story of you clicking the subscribe button on Kevin Puumala's channel with your nose on the mouse. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks, Kevin, for being here. Guys, have an awesome day, and I'll see you all in the next episode.
And keep it metal.
Exactly. See yous.